Hi, I'm Shirley from DoC and I'm talking about Bioweb. So Bioweb is the current system that we have for recording information. There are various modules within it, but it's basically one database. So sometimes you hear people referring to PestLink database or herbivorfauna database or weeds database at DoC. They're all actually part of a single database called Bioweb. And information in Bioweb has come from migration from other earlier systems, like there was something called Biosite back in the 90s or whatever, and from digitisation projects where data's been loaded in through big data capture exercises, and just day-to-day data collection entry by DoC staff. So I'm going to briefly mention the different modules of Bioweb and some of the common aspects of it, and I'm also going to talk about what access you can have now to some of that information. So within Bioweb, I mentioned there is herbivorfauna data, there's information about weeds and threatened plants, bird banding, which Delia is going to talk separately about, so I won't steal her thunder. There's a module called Blue Duck, which is specifically about blue duck observations. I think that was just an early one where they picked on a particular threatened species. We also have the pest control operations, which is PestLink. So that's all about animal pest control. And there is a casual observation area where just one-off observations, as opposed to those that are collected through surveys, can be entered for basically any species type. And there's also a species module, which is like our taxonomic module. It's not wildly sophisticated. We're hoping that long-term we've got New Zealand Organisms Register coming along. But there are two things I can mention about the species module. One is that includes the New Zealand threat classification system that Yanbin mentioned earlier. So that data is held in there, and so far we've got the 2002 and 2005 data in there, and we're hoping soon to start loading the new listings that are being done over the last, we started a year or two ago and carrying on for the other species types. And a longer term aim to make that threat status information available through a web service externally, because DoC is basically the owner of that data, as I understand it. We already have a web service for species information that we just use internally for other DoC systems. So, for example, the inventory and monitoring biodiversity projects system that Benno just talked about uses the species information from our Bioweb database using that web service. So within all those modules we have the ability to capture a little bit of metadata about surveys, but not very much, which is why we need a more comprehensive set of information about surveys. We have, of course, observations themselves, location information, of course, but just captured at the moment in Bioweb as point locations, which are sent over to our GIS system. Some of them are. And we've done a lot of work in the last couple of years on improving the accuracy of our location information and tidying up incomplete data. And of course we have date, and we've been introducing a date accuracy field in some places as well. You can see distribution maps for species of observations within Bioweb, and the herbivorfauna atlas system that is available on the internet through the DoC website, that gets its information directly from Bioweb. So that consists of information about the herb species, general information, and also distribution maps and counts of verified observations, which is coming out of Bioweb data. And what you can get now out from Bioweb, there are two things I can mention. One is the GIS information. So there's a .gis system that's available on the DOC website, and information for a few of the different modules is sent over to .gis as the observations are added and updated in Bioweb. And at the moment, only the weeds information is made available on the internet. There's more information available internally within DOC. So if I had prepared a presentation, I would be able to show you this map as an example, but this is the sort of thing you can get out of GIS for weeds distribution. So this is a little chunk of the Chatham Islands, and it's just showing some weeds observations as little dot points with their species name, and you can also get a reasonable amount of information about each of those species in a tabular format that we can then export to Excel or whatever. So for example, I did a selection based on this particular species name and got a table with the species scientific and common name, its place name that actually comes from Bioweb where that's been captured, the observer name, the GIS easting and northing, which is now in NZTM format, and how long ago that observation was made.